Hello.
Hello.
Okay. So, what's your name and what is your relationship to me?
Tracy Mitchell Milam, and you are my son.
Yeah. So, where did you grow up and what's your story?
I grew up here in Lubbock, was born in 1970 and graduated from Lubbock, Monterey in 1989. And then I went to college in College Station at A&M and lived there for about 4 years. Then moved to Houston and then back up to Midland for 20 years. And then we just recently moved back to Lubbock.
Okay, cool. So, when did you become interested in writing? When did it start for you?
Since as early on as I can remember. Once I learned how to write, that was always my way to express myself. Obviously, as we go through this, you realize I'm not able to articulate words that well, but I can write anything.
Yeah.
So I've always just loved it, and it was an outlet for me.
Okay, that's awesome. Who is one of your favorite authors and why?
Anne Rule is probably because I love true crime,
Yeah.
and this book is true crime. I've just always been fascinated with it, and she writes it like from the very beginning to the end, where you're just on the end of your seat.
Do you have any other favorite authors?
Yes, I also love Stephen King, the horror genre.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me about your book.
Okay. It's Swift and Justice, the Craig Titus story. And the way how I got into it was I was teaching, and I hurt my knee, and I was down, so I thought I'm just going to jump right in and write a book. So I started off I was going to write about a friend that was murdered and work with her family, and she was a famous bodybuilder. And I wrote Craig Titus, who's a famous bodybuilder, to have him help me with the bodybuilding aspects of the book. And he asked me if I would write his book. And I was very flattered to have somebody want me to write it.
Yeah.
And so I talked to him on the phone every day. He sent me all his information, got the court documents, flew to Houston to meet with his family, and just slowly, very slowly, put together his life and wrote down his story in the
That's
book.
so interesting. So can you take me through the process of what it's like to write a book?
Well, I can take you through the process I went through.
Yeah.
But what you should do is probably something totally different.
Okay.
But research, that to me was the most fun, I guess, of the whole thing. I love researching. And so I got all the court documents. I had Kelly, his ex-wife's diary was sent to me. Her family sent me some real personal things of hers that I went through. Talked to his family, talked to people that he worked with, and they just filled me in on everything, and combined the research with that and just started slowly putting it together.
Do you think writing true crime is harder than writing fiction?
No, I think it's easier, just because I like the research of it, and you have the facts, and you just have to put it together in a story that everybody would like to read.
Okay. Many people seem to be interested in becoming writers once they leave college. So what is it like to be a full-time author, and what would you say to people who are interested in becoming full-time writers?
Well, if it's your passion, I say do it, because there's nothing better than pursuing your passion and your love. And for me, I taught school for so many years, and I was really passionate about it, and I always wanted to get into writing. But something held me back, and I thought, just jump in and just do it. If they like it, they like it. If I'm bad, I'm bad. But just jump in and do it. For you, like I've talked to you about, I just have an English degree, and I've told you to pursue journalism, even though it may not be your favorite. Your favorite is English. When you're trying to get a job, in the real world, that journalism degree will help out and will be able to back you whenever you're trying to pursue your writing endeavor.
Okay. Do you have any advice for aspiring writers like me, essentially, trying to get their foot into the writing world?
Just keep writing, and then if something's not published or is published, that's not the big goal. The big goal is not the money at the end. It's the expressing yourself as an artist. And just jump in there and do it.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. That was so terrible. I never want to see that.
Okay.